In the early hours of October 26, 1984, a disturbing mystery unfolded on a lonely stretch of road near Hagen, Germany. A man lay dying in a ditch, barely clinging to life, his body battered and bruised. His name was Gunther Stoll, and just hours before, he had scribbled a strange combination of letters, Yogtze, a code that has baffled investigators for nearly 4 decades. Stoll was an ordinary man, a food engineer by profession, but for some time, he had been plagued by an unsettling fear. He often spoke to his wife about mysterious people watching him, convinced that someone or something was out to get him. His paranoia wasn't just occasional, it consumed him. Friends recall that he would frequently bring up cryptic concerns, hinting at something sinister lurking beneath the surface of his life. Then, on that fateful night, he suddenly sprang up from his chair and muttered, "Jetzt geht's los." He then wrote the bizarre sequence Yogtze on a scrap of paper, paused for a moment, and crossed it out. The meaning of this sequence remains unknown. Was it a cryptic warning, a code he had deciphered, or simply a product of his paranoia? Without explanation, he rushed out of his house, got into his Volkswagen Golf, and vanished into the night. Hours later, at a bar in Wilnsdorf, he was seen sitting alone. Witnesses recall that he seemed agitated, muttering to himself. Then, in a sudden and unexplained moment, he collapsed onto the floor, as if he had lost consciousness for a brief time. When he came to, he left without saying a word. Was he experiencing a moment of realization, or was something happening to him physically or mentally? What happened next remains a mystery, but sometime during the night, Stoll was found severely injured, lying in a ditch off the A45 Autobahn. His car had crashed, but it was clear the injuries on his body did not come from an accident. Authorities determined that Stoll had been struck by another vehicle and placed in his own car before it was deliberately crashed into the ditch. But this wasn't the only bizarre element. Stoll was found completely naked. His clothes were missing, nowhere to be found at the scene. Witnesses later reported seeing 2 unknown men standing near his wrecked car, speaking in hushed tones before disappearing into the night. These men were never identified, and their involvement in Stoll's fate remains unknown. What's even more chilling is that Stoll was still alive when he was found. He managed to whisper a few words before succumbing to his injuries, but he never revealed who attacked him or what Yogtze meant. To this day, theories about the meaning of Yogtze have run wild. Some believe it's a license plate number, while others suggest it's related to a radio signal or cryptographic code. Some even think he was involved in a dark conspiracy, possibly tied to his work in food engineering. Perhaps he had discovered something dangerous, something he wasn't meant to know. Others speculate that the letters aren't Yogtze at all, but rather an anagram or a misinterpreted sequence that holds a different meaning altogether. Some have suggested a connection to a food additive or chemical code, while others theorize it could reference a specific radio frequency used in clandestine operations. But despite extensive investigations, no arrests were ever made. The case remains open, frozen in time, with Yogtze as its unbreakable riddle. Was Gunther Stoll a man driven mad by his own paranoia, or was he truly being hunted? What do you think happened to Gunther Stoll? Was he the victim of an unknown force, a secretive organization, or was his death the tragic culmination of a mind unraveling? The truth may never be known,